As you can see, we've got the Surf Lifesaving Club here in Somerset behind me, and we'll be heading that way towards Wynyard. Like, subscribe and comment. As you would expect, Surf Lifesaving Club is at the beach. And this is the extension of the coastal pathway that comes all the way from Burnie and all the way to Wynyard. Reasonably warm early spring day. I've got a couple of layers on, but they'll come off. There's been showers about. I'll give you a shot of those out to sea in a minute. It should be a nice day for a walk. You can see the rain falling down there, out to sea and round to Table Cape. There's some dwellings along the coast here, nice views. A little bit of salt spray, but a nice place to live. Shot up there of the clouds sitting on top of the little hill or spur that runs down to the coast. Another look at Somerset Beach, and you can see the rain out there on the left. Not a beach to be messed with. I'd only be swimming down in front of the Surf Lifesaving Club when there were people there. But, very treacherous. A bit more on our penguin protection. Got to be on a lead between 10 AM and 6 PM to the right, and again to the left. A little bit of a rest point here in memory of Paul Beams and Charlie Traffords, who set up the what are mounted to the men's shed in Somerset. A bunny rabbit. And another bicycle repair site. Rabbits were introduced by the English settlers because apparently they preferred that to wallaby, which is beyond me. They also introduced salmon into the rivers here because they were feeling homesick. It's just bizarre. Anyway, thankfully though, no foxes were ever introduced to Tassie for the joys of fox hunting, which means our chooks are fairly safe, especially since the devil's got that facial tumour disease and large numbers of them are wiped out. So the only thing really we need to worry about nowadays in this part of the world is quolls. There's not too many of them. So yeah, we deal with the rabbits, but not the foxes. A couple more bunnies up here. Clearly they're not being hunted. They're just staying away from me because I'm a human. But they do an awful lot of damage. One there in the exercise area. Probably needs to bulk up for summer. Clearly not overly concerned, ready to bounce if needed. And there was another one just there. Little buggers are everywhere. It's almost as if they've been breeding like rabbits. A couple of plovers there. They can get quite defensive of their nests and youngs. And their young. Path just wandering away. It looks like there's some engineering work being done up there, so we might get diverted. We'll see. Another bunny. Almost getting boring now. Coming up on the left is the Somerset Football Oval. And when we say football in this part of the world, we mean AFL, Aussie rules, not soccer. Home of the Somerset Kangaroos. Occasional picnic table available. Not a lot of cover for hot weather. Another pathway into the beach for strolling, I would imagine. Take your life in your hands swimming out there. You can see Table Cape's just about disappeared in the rain. We're still walking through Somerset. It's a surprisingly large place. Another seat carved out of huge pieces of timber with a reasonable view of the ocean. And as suspected, we're on a detour. Signs and redirections everywhere. I will watch my step. Go. Not much of a detour really. We are still in Somerset though. It's coming up to the tennis courts. First layer removed. It's starting to warm up, even though it's only early. 8:30 in the morning. Just coming to the end of the tennis court complex, and there's our path ahead. There's also a walking path, footpath, just there past the end of the tar and before the roadway, obviously. Yeah, eventually that's what we'll be on. I call it now and we'll move across to the other path. There you go, we missed it at the roadworks. Okay, so a little shower has just passed. I ducked under a tree for some cover, and we're back on the road, or the footpath as they say. To be aware of push bike riders along this part, although being a Wednesday and it is school holidays, so there might be a few about. We'll see. Blackberry, the curse of the Antipodes, growing wild through there. The council will spray it. And here comes the end of the rain again. Rain affected wattle blossom and rather attractive purple thing. If you know what that is, drop a comment below. Actually not that unpleasant in this rain. A couple of months earlier she'd have been icy, but it's alright now. And the path continues on. From here on we've got a caravan park and some light engineering and a hotel. Penguin fencing now on the newer, more upgraded sections of the track. Fairly sparse rain. I'm not sure if we're picking it up on the camera, but it's just enough to be pleasant and or annoying. Definite blue sky signs ahead. We're doing alright. And you can get a clearer view of Table Cape. So the showers are passing. There's a little more social housing on the edge of town. That goes back quite a way, probably about 50 or 100 units in there. Yeah, nice reflection of the sky and the path. Very nice. Turning a corner with the rain continuing to fall. Fairly sizable light engineering company, creatively named the Engineering Company, and the Seabrook Hotel. Fairly straightforward stretch ahead of us. Scrub on the right, protecting the dunes from the high tides and the storms. Hotel on the left, and then we'll start hitting some agricultural country between Somerset and Wynyard. And you can see the cloud is definitely cleared from that little hillock. Bit of a view through to Bass Straits. Just ease in. You can see the water breaking on the rocks there, which are sometimes hidden at higher tides. Well, we've come 2 k's from somewhere, right? I couldn't tell you where. I'm assuming the 2 k's is from Somerset Surf Lifesaving Club. But hey, I may be in error. And the rain has basically stopped now. It's starting to warm up. I would imagine we might see some what appears to be steam coming from the blacker, hotter parts of the pathway as we go on. But time will tell. Bit of a fixer-upper there. Old barn, I suspect. Possibly a house, not sure. Next to that, a bit more light engineering. And you can rent implements for roadworks and whatnot. We'll have a closer look when we get round the corner. I've dispensed with the spectacles. They were covered in raindrops and they'll never dry until I can get to some tissues, which I don't carry with me. Quite a impressive sky now, and definitely rain free. If you're interested in doing a little bit of landscaping, I suspect it's at the bigger end of the game, but you can also hire, you don't have to purchase. Fair sized speedboat, Enterprise, Coastal Marine. Not exactly sure what Muir's does, but with the leaf on the end and plastic bins at the bottom for collecting produce, I'd say it's something vegetable based. And coastal caravans, quite a few of them in there. Caravanning is a big thing in Tassie. A lot of people head north in the winter. From the northwest here, it's not that cold really. We have probably some of the mildest winters in Tassie. You can see the dune defence trees are a little bit less dense. As we come to a break here, you get a view out to the beach and the rocky outcrops, which are a feature of this part of the shoreline of Bass Strait. And over there in the background is Table Cape. The whole walk has been relatively flat really. I can't actually recall a hill, which makes it ideal for wheelchairs again, apart from that roadwork part at the beginning. I'm sure you could get around that. And that won't last forever, so the path will be complete. Continuing on the light engineering and whatnots feel, the tyre centre there, and an ag supply place next door. You can see the agricultural country in the background now. Getting quite warm in the sun now. As you can see, there's still rain out to sea, but I think it's bypassing us. Touch wood. As you can see on the far right of the shop, Table Cape. I'm not sure if it's being picked up, but that nursery there is called Cape View. A damp spot there with the paper barks growing that we saw on the Pig Island video. I'll put a link to that video at the end of this one. Confirmed, Cape View Nursery. Coming up to a bit of a promontory here. Some sort of fencing around the facility. We'll have a look as we get closer. More blackberry in there. Path is starting to dry out in patches. Some warmth in the sun. Looks very much like we have a sewage treatment plant. So we'll keep going around that as quickly as possible. That's a much closer shot of the hill that had the cloud on it when we started. Signage up here. If we can get across to it, we'll have a look. Oh, here we are at Woody Hill Point. And the next major stop is Doctor's Rocks, which is 2.5 k's away, 2.6. They reckon about 35 minutes by foot. Woody Hill Point, created by lava flows and all kinds of things. Bit of mudstone in there as well. So if you want to know more, I'd Google that. And equally, it's a place for spotting penguins, which is why the fence line's been put in. And because there's penguins off to our left or to our west, dogs are prohibited on the beach. But to the right, you can let them run free. Hopefully they'll know where the edge is. Okay, thanks for visiting Somerset. It was a hoot. Let's get moving. As we approach the once cloud-covered hillock. As I say, this has been perfect for wheelchairs or tricycles or bicycles, if that's your thing. It's actually not too bad for legs either. You can see they've reinforced the shore there with a pile of rocks. When the surfs are running and the tides are coming in with the wind behind it, you get some big seas here. Spring is yet to arrive with those deciduous trees, but they can't be far away. We'll have a look as we get closer. And we've got a little rainwater runoff here that pours out under a bridge and down into the water. There must be some nutrients in it because you've got the algae growing on the rocks there. So we have these high tide defences, flood defences in a way I guess. But across the road we have our last line of defence, the heffalump. Hopefully you can see those. There is green starting to sprout from the end of these deciduous trees. Spring has officially arrived. While the Bass Highway goes up, the footpath stays level because it's following the old train lines. And the more level you can keep the train lines, the less work they had to do. The more paper barky trees. Clearly that's a wet little spot there. That's where they seem to thrive. Nope, I was wrong. There's your old train line. And we do have a bit of a hill in front of us, but nothing too strenuous. Showers out to sea. Snowdrops in bloom. Very early spring, obviously. And then, of course, mustard weed. Doesn't look quite so steep as we get close to it. Getting a gentle incline up to the little peak up there. More treacherous rocks for the idle seaman. For the life of me, I don't know why they didn't follow the train line. There's a difference, you can see there's a height difference of about 10-15 metres between the path and the train line. Maybe it was because of the high tides, who knows. Maybe they only marked the even Ks, but I missed the 3K mark. So we're doing alright. Just about to top the crest. We'll do a panoramic look from up there. So from all the way around there at Burnie, slowly move across Bass Strait in the glorious cloud cover and the storms, all the way around to Table Cape. There's Table Cape again, and we're back on the lower part of the path. Not much of a hill, but the legs felt it after those 4Ks. Fairly uneventful part of the walk here, down below the traffic noise, which is nice, but always with Table Cape in the background. Sun's starting to have a bit of a bite to it now. Only supposed to get to 13-14 degrees Celsius today. Coming into a bit of a zigzag, bring us back closer to the highway. So we'll see where we go from there. Now a bit of cloud cover, let's cool things down a bit. Not with the highway for very long, ducking away again. Another low tide trap for unwary seamen. Would have been hell in the day of sail. Okay, so there's the fence line, and there's as far up as some heavy timbers have been thrown with high tides and king tides and storms and whatnot. So I can see why they moved the path away from the train line back further. Grain silos on the hill. Lots of snowdrops in bloom. They'll be gone soon enough. We don't seem to be getting any closer to the final destination. And yet 1 foot after the other, we'll get there. And then just as I say that, we break out into this beautiful little bay. Gorgeous. There you go, maybe number 3 I walked past, or it's gone walkabout. Turn off here at Doctor's Bluff, or Doctor's Rocks rather, has you 6 Ks from Wynyard City. By the time we get to the Doctor's Rocks, we'll have done 6 Ks I reckon, or thereabouts, which was what we did from Burnie to Somerset, and then we'll do the last 6Ks on another day, and then I'll link all the videos up to give the whole horrific walk. It's been glorious from Burnie to Wynyard. Definitely penguin country, and you can see up there where they blasted through the rocks to put the highway through. Approaching a car park, which is always the sign that we're getting close to a waypoint on the walk, and just a few drops of rain blowing in on the breeze. That seems to have passed though. Quite an impressive basalt uplift, not dissimilar to the Devil's Causeway in Northern Ireland and Scotland. Same causes basalt uplift from volcanic activity. See the individual columns there as it cooled and formed. You can see the straight drilling line that they used to blast. In case you're in any doubt, there's a chair with the name Doctor's Rocks. Okay, that's going to do us for today. We'll pack up and head back, and we'll carry on from here on the next leg. This section of the walk is basically for pretty much anyone. It's reasonably flat apart from that little hill, which wasn't all that bad. Wheelchairs, trikes, bikes and foot. Thankfully no horses.